Welcome to email marketing campaigns. Let's create your new email campaign to be able to send out from your account. You'll start by going to the email campaign section, and then you can click on create a folder if you want to organize things better, or click on create new. In our case, let's create new. We have a couple of options. We can do email marketing templates or your templates as well as blank. If you click on templates, you can find the ones that you like and then go and choose template. In our case, let's click on new and let's do a blank template. You got a couple of options. One is design editor, code editor, and plain text editor. In most cases, you're going to be using the design editor. Welcome to the design editor inside of your email marketing campaigns. On the left-hand side, you can see that email AI has popped up, and you can do a quick little guide to be able to use AI to help you build your email. This will be a powerful tool for those that need it. But before we use email AI or dive into the use cases for this, let's do an overview of each one of the tools inside of your account. At the top, you can rename your email campaign. Next, you can click on these three dots and you can click on send a test email, which is important to make sure that you have everything the way that you want it to before you send it out en masse. You can also see version history if you have made any changes in the past and want to revert to it. You can also attach files. Next, you can click on the preview page or save and send and schedule. Whenever you click on test email, you can choose the sender email details, add custom values, sender name, send a test to each one of the emails and separate them by commas, preview the text, email a subject, and set as default sender and receiver if you want to use the same information you just filled out for future email tests. Once you're happy with the fill-in, you can send the test email. You can do that as many times as you'd like. You can also see the version history by clicking this button here, and you can see past versions and restore them using the button in the upper right-hand corner. On the far left-hand side, you can click on Add Elements. This is a drag and drop builder, which is super user-friendly. You can click on the text, add a text section, click and drag the image section and add that here. Just note that the formatting is large sections on the outside. You can add additional sections if you want. And then you have subsections or elements that sit inside of the primary section. So there's a button, image, text has all been added inside of this primary section. If I want to, I can hover on these little icons here to move the section, move it up or down, or duplicate. I can also view it in just mobile only, desktop only, or both, or delete the section. If I click on duplicate the section, it'll show up down below. And now if I remove this image by hovering on this image section, hovering to these little icons and clicking on delete, then the image is gone. Now I want this bottom section to go up to the top. I'll hover on it, go to the top, and this will move it to the very top. If I want to, I can hold and drag and drop sections. I can also hover on the mobile and make it a mobile only section. I can also make it a desktop only section. That way, if I move it over here to desktop or mobile, I can see what it looks like for each view. Also, hovering on each section allows me to save those sections as global sections if I want to use them in the future. If I click on Save Section, it'll take a second, then it'll show up in the sections on the left-hand side. This little save icon shows you the saved items. So if you edit a section that you want to use in multiple email templates in the future, you might want to save them here. Going back to our elements, let's do a brief walkthrough of some of the most important ones. You have your social section, will give you a couple of icons. Again, your editor will show up here on the right-hand side. You also have a footer section, which you can drag and drop. You can also hold onto the icon and scroll with your scroll wheel or with your fingers. Then we'll drag and drop that footer to the base. And now I've got this section I want to remove. I'll go ahead and trash it. I can also add products, image sliders, spacers, preview URLs, review links, forms, and countdown timers. Note that some of these icons are only visible on certain email browsers. So take into account whether or not your senders or receivers are using Outlook, Gmail, Yahoo, and other email services. Only certain services will utilize some of these tools that are a little bit more fancy, such as the image slider, countdown, review links, and forms. Some of these interactive icon elements are a little bit more unique. You can also add pre-built element sections, such as dragging and dropping this section down below, which will give us a drag and drop right and left section, and on the column layouts over here to the right hand side, this is our editor. So if I'd like 3 sections, I can do that here, 2 sections, and these are in different spacings. Down below this, I can adjust the margins and padding. I can turn on or off the padding, margin on the outside, padding on the inside, and adjust any border colors, thickness of those borders, radius, and I can choose whether or not the background type is full width or the content width. Background settings include some image patterns, image URLs, and whether or not the mobile view options stack on each other or if you disable the stacking. Again, once you edit each one of these settings, you can always scroll up to the top, view in desktop, and view in mobile. That way you know exactly how this is going to be organized. If I stack this and go to mobile, these sections will now be stacked on top of each other. Let's click on one of these buttons and see what the editor looks like. Scrolling back up to the top, I can change the text of this button here. I can also add in custom values. I can go to visibility and show this to only be visible on desktop, only visible on mobile, or all devices. I can also do conditional sending using custom fields, setting a condition, and entering values. That way I can send this button only to certain groups, using one email and not having to use a separate smart list to send. We'll get to that here in a moment. I can adjust my fonts, alignment, borders, padding, and radius. When adding in URLs, I can take text, hover over it, and add URLs here at the top. This editor will show up whenever you're editing specific text to allow you to do underline, borders, bold, italic, underline, as well as inserting snippets from your account, as well as custom values and trigger links. Navigating back up to the left-hand side, we'll see Email AI. I can go and use some AI assistants or some builders if I'd like to do so. Clicking on one of these sections will allow me to walk through the planning stage to build a reminder email using the AI. Let's say I'm an e-commerce store and I want an email built. It'll take me through the steps to be able to do so. I can see the examples of the thinking process before it is done. That way, any of the changes that are needed to be done, you can go through and reread the process and see where it did go right or if it made a mistake. Let's give it a second to figure out the rest of this email. Now that it is applying the final touches, we'll give it one more second, and now we have a reminder email for the e-commerce store that it has pre-built. Scrolling through this email, you can find the parts that you do and don't like, move them around, and edit individual sections. In regards to images, you can click on the images, go and resize it. You can hover on the image URL here on the right to change up the source, as well as edit the image here. If you want, you can edit your alt text. You can change your redirection link if someone were to click on the image itself, and do additional alignments. Let's go to managing elements. This allows us to manage individual sections in a more seamless manner. If we want to choose for the logo to only be visible on desktop, then we can turn it off of mobile. Turning back on to mobile and removing it from desktop will make sure that that section logo is not visible on desktop. Next, we can go to appearance. This will do a general design style for the entire email. This makes it a little bit easier to do your designs when you're adding buttons, backgrounds, elements. You can apply background color to the email, a body color, a content width, adding an image to the section, background image as well. You can also pre-style the color of your buttons, pre-style the color of dividers, add additional custom CSS. You can do additional mobile formatting for each one of your headings. You can also do links and choose what color your links will be, and adjust typography settings. A/B testing allows you to send multiple emails to different groups before sending out to the entire group. The way that this would work is, for example, if you're sending to 100 total emails, you may send an A/B test to the first 20. 10 emails will be sent to Group A, 10 emails to Group B, and at the conclusion, whichever performed best will then be used to send out to all 100. You can A/B test email subject line or email content. When you're doing email content, you'll need to design 2 different email types for your email that you send. You can do multiple variations, and you can choose your percentage of test size out of the total number of emails that you're going to be sending to. You can choose the total duration that it'll run for. Next, you can choose a winning criteria for unique open rate or unique click rate. We've already looked at the save items. The only difference is now you can drag and drop each one of your items onto your page. You can also switch the AI layout to right or to left. Now let's go to the sender schedule. On this page, you've got several different options to be able to send your email campaign. You can choose to send now, which will have you walk through each one of the steps to fill it out and to send. You can also schedule send, batch schedule, RSS schedule, and smart send. Smart send will look at your email campaigns that you have sent in the past and determine the best time to send. In this case, this campaign account has not sent enough emails in order to use smart send, so there are criteria that need to be met. We also can't do batch schedule or RSS schedule because we are using an A/B test. Let's walk through each one of these steps. If we're going to send right now, we will choose the sender name. Next, we can go to the sender email, which may need to be a validated email to be able to send. Whenever you put in the email for your account, it may show up an error down below that this is not an approved email to be able to send from your account. If so, there should be a button that says verify email. You can also set up a custom reply to email if someone replies to this email campaign. You can also use custom values from your account if that makes your life easier. Next, you can choose your subject line, which also allows you to insert a custom value, such as hello, such as using hello, and then inserting in the contact's first name, such as using hello, and then inserting in the contact's first name. That way, their name will be pre-filled into the email subject line. Next, you can do recipients too. You can choose individual contacts. You can send to a smart list, choose additional contacts from tags, choose pre-built segments, which would be contacts that engaged, subscribers that engaged, and you can build a custom segment. If we were to choose individual contacts, we can select all contacts and remove individual ones. If we choose smart list, we'll need to select one of our email smart lists, and only contacts that are inside of that smart list will get this email. Down below, you can choose whether or not to turn on UTM tracking. You can also choose whether or not to add tags to these emails. In our case, we're getting an error that says there has to be at least 200 contacts to send underneath the current A/B testing settings. In that case, let's save this campaign. Let's go back, and we'll go to our A/B testing and turn it back off. We'll save once again, and go back to our send and schedule. Now that we are in send and schedule, our settings are going to allow us to send an email. We also have the added ability to resend emails to unopened. We can choose to schedule this to send an additional email to those that have not opened the first email. We can change up the subject line for the new send. We can also choose some certain preferences if you have those set up for your account. Scrolling back up to schedule, this allows us to schedule an email in the future with a certain date and time. This will automatically send from your account. You also have Content AI that is available to you. Going to batch schedule, you can choose specific numbers of groups of batches to send to. For example, if I choose a batch of 20, it'll send to 20 contacts and repeat every 1 hour, and it'll only send on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. These highlighted buttons are the days that it will send. You can choose when the batch schedule will start, at what time, and when it'll end. The rest of your settings are the same as usual. You can also choose to do an RSS schedule using an RSS feed URL. You can choose to be how many RSS feeds are being pulled. The rest of your settings should be the same as usual. Once you are happy with all of your adjustments, you can also attach a file, and then you click on Review and Schedule. If you have any errors, those will show up here. We'll go back to Send Now. We'll click on Review and Send, and in this case, resend subject is invalid. So we'll go and turn off the resend, and we'll click on Send. Now that the bulk action is created, we can see that this email is processing. We can see the execution date, and we can click on the three dots, click on Refresh, Cancel, Pause, or Preview Campaign, as well as Statistics. Clicking on Statistics will allow us to see the send from email, all emails, the number processed, number accepted, skipped, and failed. We can load additional statistics, which will allow us to see when it was sent, when it was skipped, delivered, see if there are any tags that we had attached, and see the engagement rate, and we can see the emails that it was delivered to. Opened, clicked, ordered, replied, hard bounce, soft, complained, unsubscribed, skipped, and failed. All of your details are here. You can also click into the individual contacts and see their emails. Now that the email has completed its send, we can see that the status has changed to sent. Congratulations! You've now sent your first email campaign.